So if you don't know what the Coffin of Andy and Leyley is, I'm going to break it down for you real quick, because it appears you've been in the Himalayas if you haven't heard of this game, and the amount of people losing their minds over it, especially on the godforsaken website Twitter. I still refuse to call it X. But I did already make a video on the Coffin of Andy and Leyley on my other channel, but there is a lot that has changed. So the plot of Andrew and Leyley can be broken down actually pretty quickly. It is incest, bit more incest, and incest. That's what a majority of the internet thinks anyway. Those people who saw one clip and immediately thought that's what the game was entirely about, and then proceeded to rant about it on Twitter like they just played the 6-hour segment to get to that point in the game. But to break it down for you, it's a story about Andrew and Leyley, who are brother and sister, and are being held against their will in their apartment block because they're contaminated by something they drank in the water, and the quality of care they're receiving isn't that great. They're barely receiving any food, if all any. And they're basically starving to death. But Leyley is basically the psychopath of the story, and basically a sociopath who just wants her brother to herself, and doesn't want any other girl interacting with him, which has led to her basically killing a girl that liked him, and basically berating Andrew every time he doesn't prioritise her, which has led to him holding her in a WWE chokehold a few times. Damn, they really got that yandere sister incest story, good damn. But Andrew is basically the one that has to deal with all the shit, dealing with the messes his sister makes, and against his own will a majority of the time taking the lead to resolve the issues, even though majority of the time it acts like he doesn't even want to be there. And both their parents at this point said basically, fuck you guys, fend for yourself. We're really busy right now, can you call back later? We really don't care, which actually happens at one point in the story. But they're basically starving to death and they notice some ominous music coming from their neighbour. And they notice their neighbour's doing a demon ritual, which is just a normal Friday night for them apparently. And then they later find that their neighbour has been murdered by a demon. And then they're like, let's just ransack their house. There's gotta be food somewhere, right? They didn't find any food. So then they're like, let's just ransack our own neighbour's corpse and eat that. Which they do, which Andrew absolutely hated, but Leyley was completely fine with it. And then they attempted to clean up the mess because there are wardens in the cell block who will come check on you daily to see if you're still alive. But they went fast enough and one of the wardens discovers the mess, so Andrew fucking kills them. And Leyley has the bright idea to sacrifice another one of the wardens to the demon. Where the demon basically says, you're bad shit crazy insane, even more bad shit crazy insane than I am, here's this item. And with that item, Leyley can basically see the future through her dreams. And at one moment she sees where her and Andrew are being murdered, which she promptly resolves. But whilst they're in the prison/apartment block, they discover they weren't really sick, they were just being used to harvest their blood and organs, and they weren't really being prioritised because their blood type was kind of shit, and not of any use to anyone. But then there was some other people who had the Skibbity Sigma fucking Rizzler unicorn fart dust blood that was useful to everyone, so they were being prioritised and getting a lot of food out of it, which they promptly kill one of them who was just kind of chilling like, I get to sit on my ass and eat food all day, until they were murdered. And then Andrew and Leyley just leave the apartment block and go on their merry way to terrorise some other city. So why was everyone losing their shit over the incest part? Because 6 hours into the game, Leyley sees one of these future visions again, and it's basically after her and Andrew have smacked the meat together, so to say. Really tenderized the meat by what they were saying to each other. Something you would say to your cousin if you was in Alabama. Or your sister, I don't know what you're into. You have quite the selection of family members to choose from in Alabama, I assume. This scene is presented as, if things don't change, you two are going to end up fucking. Pretty terrible consequence, I think. But not only Leyley saw this vision, Andrew also saw this vision and basically chalked it up to, I don't want to talk about it. It might have been the demon just fucking with us. And that's it. People have been losing their shit over 6 hours into the game, that shit happens. Is it weird? Very. But it's also a game that has cannibalism and fucking demons in it, so I wouldn't expect it to have some other fucked up twists to it. Said twists that also make it quite unique, which kind of worked in its favour this time. It blew up all over the internet, with some people hating it and others making Rule 34 on it, of course. You can't have anything in this world without a Rule 34 post on it. I'm serious, look up your dad's right kneecap on Rule 34, see what comes up. Sorry, I'm assuming you have a father figure now, aren't I? Goddamn. But yeah, some people liked it, some people hate it, some people just thought, this is a game, I really don't give a fuck. Which is the right mindset to have. It's a quirky, unique game, which sort of has a good story, I think. But my favourite part is where the mother finds out about it and basically just tells him to GG game end.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
But the people who really didn't like this game ended up harassing the person who made it, to the point where they just gave up and have given the project to another studio so that they can continue the third chapter, which is coming out. Now, they must have received a lot, and I mean a lot of hate, to just give up on it since it was very profitable for them. People were buying this game left, right and centre because they liked it so much. Because, not of the incest part, totally not because of the incest part. That was not the main selling point. It wasn't. It just wasn't. I'd like to think most people played this game with 2 hands, not just one. But what I'm basically saying is, they were getting a lot of money on this and they don't want to continue it anymore because of the amount of hate they were getting, which is very much respectable. They're prioritizing themselves over any profit. But I just can't get my mind around the people that thought they would harass someone because of something that happened in a game. Like, I understand a bit of the hate, you know, you're from Alabama, this isn't based on your experience you had with your sister back in 10th grade. It's unrealistic to you, you probably sent like a 20-page report on how you and your sister did it, and how this doesn't compare. And I'm so sorry if there's one person from Alabama watching and I'm just constantly shitting on them. Next time, just pick a better spawn. Not the UK though, the UK is basically hardcore difficulty right now. But yeah, the game is basically getting continued by another company who bought the license. But I find it just extremely weird that people would thought they would harass somebody over a piece of fiction, let alone the people that got angry when they didn't even play the game. Yeah, I do kind of get it, it's incest, it's extremely fucking weird, but there's about 20 animes about incest and nobody ever freaks their shit about that. And they don't send hate mail in broken Japanese that probably translates to something completely unreadable and incomprehensible. It's just chalked up to anime is anime, but that is just based on the example of other forms of media that use incest as a thing. But I understand the people that hated on this game probably didn't watch anime, they're probably still not allowed outside the basement with their albino skin. But yeah, I think it's completely stupid for the people to harass this person. It's just a game, they're not spreading some fucking ideology or some shit. Yeah, it's a very weird premise, but they're not telling you to fuck your sister or any other relative in your family. I know Gram doesn't want to see your 2-inch. But even in the game, it's seen as a consequence and something they need to avoid. It's not like they're like, hell yeah, let's fuck right now. Like, they want to avoid it. But yeah, the creator has basically removed themselves from the internet. Everything they've posted, everything they're on is basically gone. And it's just unfortunate. The game had a great story, except for the incest part, obviously. But I really liked the art style as well. It was very unique. It reminded me of Don't Starve, which I mentioned in the other video. And it's just a shame the internet lives up to its reputation and has some absolute degenerates that have nothing better to do but harass people because they don't like the game they created, which they probably didn't buy and they just watched a YouTuber play it. But yeah, it's just a shame the original creator can't finish their own work. But that's going to wrap up the video. Enjoy this meme and bye-bye.
So what do you think of men who get cooked?
I think that's really sad. They should, can I say that?
What?
I think they should beat their wives.